At Citi Field in New York, the New York Mets play the San Diego Padres. Friday Night Baseball is presented by Jeep. Yesterday, the Mets were trounced by the Arizona Diamondbacks 9-0, completing a 3-game sweep, which drove the manager to his breaking point.
I don't care who's not here. There are no excuses here. These are Major League Baseball players. I don't care where they came from. I don't care how they got here. The names on their back and on the front of their uniforms say they're a Major League Baseball player. It starts with them. And when you come and when you owe what you do, you owe a responsibility to the fans, our fan base, the organization, and to yourself, the respect for this game to come out and grind it out. And yes, some guys are having a bad time, and whoa, you cannot say woe is me at this level. You cannot do it. Everybody's too good here. Nobody feels sorry for you because everybody's been humbled. And those who get out of it stay here a long time. Those who don't, you keep looking up and they keep getting a little time here and a little time there, but they don't stay. I want the ones who can stay. Starting tomorrow, we're going to get after it here. And those who don't want to get after it, I will find somebody else who does. Because in Las Vegas, there's a whole clubhouse full of guys who want to sit in this room, and I'll find them. That's all I got to say.
So this is now tomorrow at Citi Field. Gary Cohen, Ron Darling, Keith Hernandez with you inside the broadcast booth as the Mets open a series with the Padres. After that talk to the media, Terry Collins went inside the clubhouse, talked to his players. Some of the veteran players spoke as well. So if you're one of those players and you hear your manager basically just question your effort, how does that make you feel?
Well, if you think you're a championship team, that message really should resonate. It's the kind of message that you go home at night, look in the mirror, and try to think to yourself, am I doing enough to help this team win? Am I doing all the little things to make sure these things get done? Now, if you're another team, the kind of team that talks behind the back of your manager, oh, the old guy's going off again, well, that's a team that probably should book their tee times in October. It should resonate if you're a championship team, and it hurts your feelings because you know why? You might cost the manager his job.
And maybe yourself as well. I guess my question is, what kind of impact does that kind of tongue lashing have on a team?
Well, what I feel is this. It's all culminated with a homestand that the Mets were supposed to make hay on. They get swept by a team with 66 losses, and then to lose the final game in the manner that they lost, where there wasn't an attention to detail. They botched up a rundown. It was really the nadir of the season in my mind, and that deserves a tongue lashing. And I think everything that Terry said, you try to bring out the pride in uniform. You go out there, you don't feel sorry for yourself. That was an embarrassment yesterday how they played, and I had a hunch this was coming. So this is ring the bell, and we'll see how they react to it. But I guarantee you one thing: when you get chewed out by a manager, you do go home and you do think about it, and you come hopefully with a better attitude the next day.
Well, Terry Collins said today, once in a while you have to wake everybody up. We'll see if it worked. Mets take on the Padres tonight in the opener of a 3-game series. All the action coming your way tonight right here on SNY. Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by the Summer of Jeep celebration going on now. By Bob's Discount Furniture. Shop in store or online at mybobs.com. By Geico, over 75 years of savings and service. By GMC, we are professional grade. And by Astoria Bank, the difference is wanting to make a difference. Visit AstoriaBank.com. Come out to Citi Field Sunday for Family Sunday to watch the Mets take on the Padres at 1:10 p.m. The first 15,000 fans in attendance will receive a toy truck presented by WB Mason. Plus, Go Kids 12 and under can run the bases after the game in the Mr. Met Dash, courtesy of Northwell Health. For tickets, visit Mets.com/Family Sundays. Well, there was some thought given to replacing Logan Verrett in the rotation, but he does get the start tonight against the Padres.
You know, Gary, this really is like a probation start. It's a start where he's got to show the manager something. The manager talked to him and said, listen, strikes aggressively early in the count is the big deal for Logan.
And seemingly the entire San Diego rotation is on probation. Paul Clemens, who was claimed on waivers from Miami, gets the start tonight.
Yeah, all the ones that the Mets saw earlier have been traded. Clemens, if his curveball is working early, he has the chance to have a big game.
No relation to Roger. Mets and Padres on a hot night in New York. First pitch coming up. Logan Verrett on notice as he takes the mound tonight against the San Diego Padres. Got knocked out in the 4th inning in Detroit in his last start. And here is the very unfamiliar Padres lineup that will face him. The only player that is in the lineup who played significantly against the Mets when they were in San Diego in May is Will Myers, who's had a nice season for them. They've got 4 rookies in the lineup, including Travis Jankowski at the top, who has had a big impact on the Padres since taking over in center field.
Well, there's Verrett's Land Rover numbers. Whip is high. 7-game losing streak since he won those first 3. 2 as a starting pitcher, 1 in relief.
Jankowski bluffs the bunt, takes outside, and we're underway. Jankowski last 10 games hitting .432 with 8 stolen bases. He's only made 43 starts this year and he has 25 steals. So with the Mets right now struggling controlling the running game, it is essential for them to try and keep Jankowski off base. And he takes a fastball for a strike, 1-1. Barrett faced the Padres in relief back in May. Mets split a 4-game series in San Diego. His first start against the Padres. And Jankowski slashes one past Rivera and down the line for a leadoff hit. And so Jankowski is immediately aboard.
Well, we'll see what happens here. 25 stolen bases, as Gary mentioned. The two top hitters in the lineup, Wilmeyer and Jankowski, have 46 steals between them, both over 20. So we'll see if the Padres try to do the same thing that the Diamondbacks did to the Mets.
Well, they are a much more running-oriented team than Arizona. 99 steals as a team, third in the National League. So here's Myers, who has had himself a terrific season. The former American League Rookie of the Year with Tampa Bay, and Verrett immediately taking a look at Jankowski. Logan's done a pretty good job controlling the running game. Only 3 stolen bases in 7 tries against him this year. Look at that. More than 20 years since the team had given up 4 or more stolen bases in 3 straight games, which is what the Mets did against Arizona.
Well, the Padres are 3rd in stolen bases. They're like 13th in batting average, but they're 6th in home runs. They hit long balls.
Ronnie, I don't think we saw consecutive throws to first the entire series against Arizona.
That's right. And so, couple it with a step off or something here.
And Myers takes up and in. Terry Collins, during his pregame talk today, made the point, and it's worth emphasizing, that all the calls for throws to first, for step offs, for pitch out, they all come from the bench.
They do, but if you have a feel for the running game as a pitcher, you are allowed to throw there anytime you want. So if you have a feeling that he might go, throw over there.
And he does not go. Bluff to start, but stopped. And Myers takes outside, 2-0.
And you notice the reaction from Verrett, and we talked about it yesterday, Gary. The psychological effect, where you're just not seeing a lot of stolen bases, and now when it becomes so much in the spotlight, so much of an issue.
So now he's behind on Myers, maybe the best hitter in the lineup, 2-0, and he takes inside, now 3-0.
And you wonder if Verrett is, because of the concern of the Jankowski at first, is getting distracted a little bit, Ron.
Well, it's interesting to listen to some of the Mets pitchers talk about this running game versus getting hitters out. It's like it's
swinging 3-0.
It's almost like, guys, it's 2 different entities, and I find that hilarious because it's all part of being a professional pitcher at this level.
Right.
It's not only being able to get the hitter out, but give your catcher a shot. It's part of being a good teammate, is keeping a guy close so your catcher has a chance.
And of course, that's the other part of the equation, is that d'Arnaud in particular has not thrown particularly well, although he looked like he had improved when he came back from the rotator cuff problems earlier this year.
Well, Syndergaard's comments were of interest to me when I read the paper this morning. Was that his, whether he's just talking or if it is true, with 2 outs, he doesn't really mind that he's more focused on the hitter than the runner with 2 outs. Well,
there's ball 4, and Myers is aboard, so instant trouble for Verrett. Padres have the first 2 men on.
My point, and Ronnie, I think you'll disagree, is okay, if you have that attitude or that thought process where the runner on first is not important, I got 2 outs. Well, do you want to pitch where a double scores a run, or do you want to pitch where a single is going to score a run? I just don't see. I don't factor that. I can't put my arms around that comment.
So here's Yangervis Solarte, the former Yankee. He was hurt with a hamstring injury when the Mets were out in San Diego earlier this year. Solarte having a good year, hitting .292, 11 home runs. Switch hitter, batting left. So now instant traffic for Verrett. Jankowski at second, Myers at first. Both can run. As lightning flashes in the background, the slider misses low and in for ball 1.
Well, this Padre lineup, the first 4 guys in the lineup are, they got some nice batting averages. They got some power. But boy, the second half, it drops off from there. The second half of this lineup has got some serious interstate batting averages.
It is almost a completely turned over team from early in the season. Padres trading away so many of their veterans. Melvin Upton and Matt Kemp and James Shields popped up in foul territory. Loney hoping for a play to the railing, but not enough room.
Your Lexus Metsy defense. Granderson in left. We're seeing that more, and I like Curtis in left field. And you got Bruce in right with a decent arm. Rivera just called up, leading AAA in hitting. He gets a start at third base again, and d'Arnaud behind the plate.
Relatively new spot for Granderson, playing left field where he's not played a lot in his career.
Well, traditionally you want your strongest arm out in right field for obvious reasons, and also it's the biggest part of the ballpark here at Citi Field is right field.
That pops out of the mid of d'Arnaud, and the runners advance. Well, not the beginning to this game that Terry Collins was hoping for.
Well, there's a fine line between being able to squeeze the baseball and frame pitches and catching the ball. And catching the ball is always number one.
Well, he tried to frame it and too quickly. And that's a pass ball.
Rene Rivera had a pass ball during the 6-run sixth for the Diamondbacks yesterday, and now a pass ball by d'Arnaud puts 2 in scoring position. 2-1 to Solarte, and that's low, and it's 3-1. The power hitting Alex Dickerson is on deck. Mets made some player moves today. They brought up an extra pitcher, Seth Lugo, so if Verrett has early trouble, at least they've got an extra arm in terms of thinking about a long man. Good changeup, and he gets full on Solarte, 3-2.
Big swing out in front, 3-1. That's not pitch recognition there. If you're 3-1, that is your pitch to hit, and particularly if you're fooled, you don't want to swing at that pitch.
3-2 coming, and Solarte takes the changeup for ball 4. So 3-1 changeup, 3-2 changeup from Verrett. He's walked 2 in a row, and the bases are loaded with nobody out. And an early visit to the mound now for Dan Warthen.
Well, this has got to be the toughest visit for a pitching coach. What do you say to your young man? 10 minutes into the game, and you've got to do 2 things. You've got to try to get him to work out of this inning, and maybe delay enough time to get a guy like Seth Lugo up.
There's already stirring around in the Mets bullpen. Don't know if anybody's going to start throwing imminently, but there's movement 3 batters into the game. One of the things that Terry Collins said about Logan Verrett before the game tonight is he's got to challenge hitters. He can't pick around the edges of the strike zone, and here he's walked the 2nd and 3rd hitters of the night. So Dickerson, who homered in 4 straight games a couple of weeks ago, comes up to bat with the bases loaded and nobody out. And he takes low and in for ball 1. 26-year-old Alex Dickerson, a San Diego native who's got a lot of power. 7 home runs through his first 113 at bats. Became the first Padre rookie ever to homer in 4 straight games. And he fouls back the fastball, 1-1.
Big guy Dickerson here. Got to get ahead with the fastball. You're not throwing those 3-2 changeups. You're walking 2 people in this inning. You got to get ahead and take your chances with your defense out there. You got 8 gloves out there.
And Dickerson lifts one to left center. Not all that deep, but Jankowski's fast. Granderson, though, in very shallow left center, so Dickerson's not going to try it. And that's the first out of the night.
Well, he got his first out with fastballs and inside, one after the hitters.
So 1 out, and now the number 5 hitter, Ryan Schimpf, the rookie second baseman. Schimpf's a guy who's kicked around in the minor leagues for a long time since coming out of LSU. 28-year-old rookie, first drafted by Toronto. Schimpf was named the National League Rookie of the Month for July. He had 9 home runs in July. He's not a big guy, but he's got some power. Bases loaded, 1 out.
Mets playing double play depth, obviously. 1 ground ball away and getting out of this mess.
Red has thrown a first pitch ball to all 5 batters. And Schimpf cracks one to deep center field. Back goes De Aza. Back near the wall, and it's out of here. A grand slam for Ryan Schimpf. And the Padres jump out to a 4-0 first inning lead. Well, little guy who can hit it a long way, and Schimpf did. His 11th home run.
Well,
and his first career grand slam. And Logan Verrett, already on notice, takes a body blow in the first inning.
Well, the 2 walks got him in big trouble. And they were 3-2 changeups. And here's the bomb. Oh, the fastball right down the pipe. Bled back out over the middle. De Aza runs out of room.
Jabari Blash at the plate. Takes a slider out of the zone, 1-1.
Well, there's the right on the fat of the bat.
And Blash blasts one out to right center field, headed back toward the wall, and this ball is gone. A Schimpf and a Blash, and the Padres have a 5-0 lead. Third home run for Jabari Blash, the rookie from the Virgin Islands. And back-to-back home runs for San Diego have created a nightmare first inning for Logan Verrett.
Blash came into this game hitting 196 with only 56 at bats. His 3rd home run.
And now there is action behind Verrett in the Mets bullpen. Here's Christian Bethancourt, the catcher.
Right down the pipe, Ronnie. Inner half down, and it looked like he was going that way. No doubt, opposite field.
Still impressive power that way.
Yep.
Blash is a big guy, and he crushed that. Good curveball by Verrett, and it's 0-2 to Bethancourt. Bethancourt is doing most of the catching now for the Padres. Here's Seth Lugo up in the bullpen, just arrived from Las Vegas this afternoon. Took Michael Conforto's spot on the roster. Conforto optioned back to Vegas to try and get his bat going. 1-2 to Bethancourt. Well, they always say that managers are supposed to call team meetings right before their ace is going.
Well, Syndergaard started yesterday. The score was 9-0 at the end of the game, so you just don't know.
No.
Well, I've not heard that one, Garrett. Makes sense.
And Bethancourt strikes out to end the inning, or excuse me, for the 2nd out. Seemed like it should have been the end, but it is only the 2nd out.
Here's the 2nd home run off of Blash. Garrett, what'd you call that back-to-back home run? What was that?
It's a Schimpf and a Blash.
Excellent, and hardly any follow-through in the swing. Big, lanky, tall, strong kid.
Now Nick Noonan, the shortstop and number 8 hitter, takes a strike. Noonan, former first-round draft pick of the Giants, recently joined the Padres, and they're going to play him most days at shortstop. He was hitting .321 in AAA before he was called up. One and two to Noonan.
Again, another Mets pitcher, 29th pitch here for Verrett in the first inning.
Tolerable if you give up a run, not so much if you give up 5.
Well, remember early in the season when the Mets were styling, that was the opposition pitcher was always in the 25 to 30 range.
Two to Noonan with the pitcher on deck, and he threw him a changeup and missed with it, and now it's a full count.
Well, there's a lot of game left, and this would be a terrific game to come back and win. They got an uphill climb, but it's not insurmountable. But this is not the way you wanted this game to start.
Three-two coming to Noonan with 2 out, and he hits it in the air to center. This one's playable for De Aza. The inning finally comes to an end, but a gut punch for a beleaguered team as the Padres hang 5 on Verrett in the first. Schimpf and Blash with home runs. Mets down 5-0. Rivera in his second big league start moves up to the number 2 spot in the order. Neil Walker, the hottest hitter in the Mets lineup, will bat 3rd tonight. And the Mets will try and make some hay against Paul Clemens, who makes his 4th start since coming to the Padres.
Well, it seems like this entire Padres team is guys that have been signed off the waiver wire, and Clemens is no exception with his Toyota numbers. Started with Houston, waived by Marlins recently, and the San Diego Padres this year have used 13 different starting pitchers.
Well, think about this. First do the defense.
All right, thank you. The Coors Light defense. Jankowski is the athletic one out there. Strong arm, can go get him, can run. The infield's made a lot of errors. In fact, this Padre team has made 81 errors. That is 13th in the National League. It's a lot of errors to be made by a ball club. Betancourt catching, former Brave.
Paul Clemens, 28 years old, out of Lewisburg College in North Carolina. Same school that produced Otis Nixon and Razor Shines.
Razor.
You remember Razor?
Remember Otis.
Third base coach.
All in. I'm all in, Razor.
One of them belonged to the All-Million team.
Curtis Granderson leads off for New York. Curtis 1 for 10 in the series against the Diamondbacks, and he takes low from Clemens. I was about to say the 4 games the Mets played in San Diego back in May. The Padres starting pitchers in those games were Colin Ray, Drew Pomerantz, James Shields, and Andrew Kashner. All 4 were traded away. Now Ray was traded back because he was damaged goods, and now he's out for the season.
With that being said, Robbie Ray threw up 7 shutout innings. Shipley yesterday threw 7 shutout innings.
So you're saying right now it's more on the Mets offense than about the opposing pitch?
To me it is. Yeah.
1-2 to Granderson. And the curveball fouled off.
I would be inclined to agree with you, Ron, on that. You know, you've got, I know that Terry, this is true. Terry said there's no excuses who's not in the lineup. But the Mets are missing a lot of their key components out there, and a lot of AAA fill right now.
But you know, every team's got their issues. Just in the last week, the Cardinals have lost their shortstop, their first baseman, and their left fielder. All big bats in the middle of their lineup. Diaz, Adams, Holiday. Popped up into shallow center field. The shortstop Noonan waiting for it. And that's the first out. Well, there are the numbers on the Mets offense, and this is the full season. This isn't just recently. This has been going on all year. That's even when they've had most of their troops available, have not been a good offensive team.
Well, the 202 batting average, running the scoring position. That's pretty telltale right there.
Mets are in the bottom half of the league in every offensive category except home runs. They're 3rd in the league in home runs, but they have done nothing else well offensively. And again, that goes back to the start of the year. And one of the interesting things during this latest stretch, the Mets, who have been a franchise who have hung their hat on power and on base percentage, are not getting on base. They've only drawn 20 walks in the last 10 games. So a key component to what they're supposed to be doing is not happening. And Terry pretty much addressed that in his post-game comments yesterday about hitters basically giving up at bats and swinging early in the count at pitches that they can't hit.
They made a good point. He said, listen, I'm not against guys swinging on the first pitch. I'm against guys swinging at the first pitch and getting jammed, breaking their bat.
TJ Rivera laces one to left center. Dickerson, though, gets over and makes the catch for the second out.
Well, this ball struck solidly.
Dickerson, who is a bit of a defensive liability out there. They say he has depth perception issues.
Well, that's a little problem for an outfielder.
I would think so.
He's really a first baseman who they've.
Listen, that's a problem for an announcer. Forget about a ball player.
Don't I know it? Here's Neil Walker. Walker has been an island in the Mets lineup, the one hot hitter. Neil's riding a 9-game hitting streak, which matches the longest hitting streak for any Met player this year, and that in and of itself tells a story. Well, there are the recent numbers on Walker, who has just been superb for the last couple of weeks.
Ton of multi-hit games in there too. Just raging hot.
And that came on the heels of a 2-for-30 stretch, which is, that's how seasons go. But the key is to minimize the cold spells and maximize the hot ones.
It's not really that long. The 2 is bad, but the, what was it, 34 you said?
2 for 30, yeah.
It's not that. You think about it, 4 at bats. That's around 8 games, 9 games. Seems like an eternity.
Here's ball 4, so Walker draws a 4-pitch walk. And the Mets have their first base runner of the night.
When we heard Terry's words before we did the open, the one thing we didn't hear is that he addressed how Neil Walker, who's at the bottom of the barrel, fought and grinded his way out of it. And in yesterday's ball game, flew out to left and was running the bases as hard as he would in the first inning. And it was later in the game. So it's, it's those kind of things he'd love to see from his ball club.
Would also help if the Mets get Jay Bruce going. Bruce, through 9 games as a Met, is just 6 for 35. Still 3rd in the National League in home runs, 2nd in RBIs. As Bruce arrived, Cespedes went to the DL, so they only played one game together.
Right.
And that puts a lot of pressure on a guy who's only been in a Mets uniform for a week and a half. And the curveball misses badly, 2-0. 6 in a row missed out of the strike zone by Clemens.
14 walks, Clemens in 27 1/3. It's way too many.
How about 9 home runs in 27 1/3?
Walker at first with 2 out. And Bruce takes a fastball strike. James Loney would be next. And Bruce fights one off. 2-2.
Clemens has a little 3/4 action, so his fastball, even though it moves a little bit, is pretty flat across the strike zone. I mentioned earlier in the game, it's his curveball that's his out pitch. If he can get that over, has a chance to have a strong game.
Clemens originally drafted by the Braves, 7th round pick in 2008. He's been with 6 different organizations. He's with his 3rd different major league team. Just trying to find a niche. And he's got a 5-0 lead to work with before he takes the mound tonight. Bruce hits it right at the third baseman Solarte, playing on the right side, and that's a 5-3 putout to end the inning. After 1 at Citi Field, Padres 5, Mets nothing. MLB.TV Premium. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. MLB.TV Premium includes a free subscription to At Bat Premium. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. Well, Clemens takes a strike.
It is a sticky night.
Ooh, a lot of zeros. Red, after giving up those 2 home runs, now has chucked his slider and gone to the curveball.
Curveball he's only thrown 8% of the time this year. Barrett threw 33 pitches in an ill-fated first inning. Gave up a single and 2 walks to the first 3 hitters. Ryan Schimpf unloaded for a grand slam. Jabari Blash followed with a solo home run and put Barrett in a big early hole. Now facing the pitcher to start the second. The last time the Mets gave up a first inning grand slam, it's been 4 years. In Philadelphia, August of 2012, Ryan Howard hit a grand slam with Chris Young in the first inning. That was the last time before tonight. And the curveball hit to short. Reynolds secures it and throws out Clemens one away. So 1 out and nobody on. Now the leadoff hitter, Travis Jankowski. Jankowski, who grew up in Pennsylvania, was part of the Stony Brook team that went to the College World Series in 2012. Playing for Matt Senk, who's done such a great job with the Seawolves over the years. Senk's been there long enough that he coached Joe Nathan.
Really? Wow.
And Tom Kohler, Nick Tropiano, Jankowski. Back close to where he went to college, trying to lay down a bunt and fouls it off.
I know the island is long, but Stony Brook is out there.
Well, you go and you go and you go on the expressway, and you get off the exit, and then you keep going another 20 minutes north.
Go and go.
Yeah, it's a long way. It's a nice place, though. And they now play baseball there at Joe Nathan Field.
That's right. Joe was nice enough to donate a lot of his money and time to that ball field.
Where is Joe? Did the Cubs release him?
I don't know. Yeah, I know they signed him. I don't know what happened.
They activated him.
Yeah.
And then I think they either DFA'd him or released him. I have to check.
Well, I don't know what happened.
41 years old, coming off Tommy John surgery.
And they also added a couple of pitchers, remember. So that worked against them, Chapman and Montgomery.
Of course, Joe Nathan was one of those guys like Jacob deGrom and the guy we saw yesterday, Braden Shipley, who was a college shortstop. Breaking ball in for a call, third strike, and Jankowski caught looking. Second strikeout for Barrett.
Seems like Barrett, like Ronnie, you mentioned, he's going to his curveball.
Look at that finger. Pointer finger's off the ball, just using that middle finger to start that rotation. Good enough to get Jankowski.
Why do guys do that? What advantage is there to taking that second finger off the ball?
What happens is it makes sure you put all the pressure on your middle finger. If you have the other finger on the ball, some pitchers will end up using both of those fingers, and it doesn't get it as tight as it does if you keep it off the ball and hold it just with that middle finger. I never found that to be the case, but a lot of guys do. A lot of guys will kind of spike it into the ball, and they'll do it like that. So it's kind of a knuckle curve or a spike curve ball. Whatever feels comfortable.
Do you think it's harder to command with just the one finger, or does that not make a difference?
I would find it impossible to command with one finger, but watch that pointer finger off the ball, middle finger right on that seam, thumb tucked, and what you do is you pull down with that middle finger and flip with that thumb. That's how you get the rotation.
Behind Myers, 2-0. There's a strike. Myers drew a walk and scored in front of the grand slam by Schimpf in the first inning.
The sun has popped out, reflecting off the right field scoreboard.
We had rain for a few minutes before the game.
Last time I saw you two, we had a pretty long one, didn't we?
There it is.
Sometimes you get that right into the hitter's eyes at this point in the evening. Not the case right now.
Good day sunshine.
Full count to Myers. Well, Myers, first time All-Star this year, the only player so far this year in the 2020 club. Of course, you know, nobody steals bases anymore. 3-2 coming, and that's low in, ball 4, and Myers walks for the second time. You know, Keith and I were talking about this yesterday, Ronnie, the fact that the Mets gave up more stolen bases in one series than they ever had in their history. And you think about back in the 70s and 80s when you had guys stealing 70 to 80 bases a year, you would never think that this is the era where that record would be set.
And, you know, those 2-3 years I played with that Cardinal bunch where we lived off the stolen base. I never saw anything like that. Close.
Solarte yanks one foul.
Talking about the Expos and the Pirates and all those teams.
Cardinals,
right?
of course. Joe Nathan DFA'd by the Cubs August 5th, so he's still in limbo. He did pitch for the Cubs once on July 31st.
Showed me something, though, getting Tommy John that late in his career and coming back.
Myers a base stealer at first with 2 out. And Brett takes a gander at him. 21 steals for Myers. He's only been caught 3 times. He's 6th in the National League in steals. Brett about to throw his 50th pitch. There goes Myers. Solarte takes it high. The throw by d'Arnaud on the money, and he got him. Perfect throw by d'Arnaud. Reynolds able to take the throw and make the tag in one motion to get Myers and retire the side. We'll see if the Padres think about challenging this.
I don't think so. I think they got him.
Oh, close.
And going to the bag as the tag hit the back. No challenge by Andy Green. Inning over. 2-6 on the caught stealing. 5-0 San Diego. Won their 11th in a row this afternoon, pummeling the Cardinals 13-2. 5 home runs, including a pair for Matt Caesar.
Wainwright gave up 7 runs, only went 2 innings.
So the Cardinals now a game behind the Marlins for the second wild card. Pirates 2 back. Mets 3 behind.
Colorado having a pretty nice year, and they have a new nice little player in David Dahl, don't they?
Well, he's a record equaler now. David Dahl has hit in his first 17 major league games, which ties a major league record. Now there's a cautionary note to that.
Yes.
Okay. James Loney leads off in the home second, and he pulls one into right field for a base hit. Beats the triangle shift and has the Mets' first hit of the night against Paul Clemens.
Fastball right down the middle. Loney jumped all over it, Keith.
You got that right, Ron. You got to do that.
That snapped an 0 for 13 stretch for Loney. And the Mets have the leadoff man on with Travis d'Arnaud coming up. So the guy who David Dahl tied is a fellow named Chuck Aleno, who played for the Cincinnati Reds in 1941. He hit in his first 17 big league games. Aleno played parts of 4 seasons, hit .209 in the major leagues, and then he was done.
That's the cautionary tale.
That's the cautionary note. So I mean, Dahl looked fabulous when we saw him here, but you never know. I mean, Darno flies one out to right field, and Blash coming toward the sidewall and runs out of room. I mean, you can run them off easily, right? Kevin Moss, Shane Spencer, Benny Agbayani, all the guys who got off to the incredible starts with the bat, but never became stars.
Ron Kittle.
Joe Charbonneau.
Yeah, Joe Charbonneau is the one that kind of resonates.
I mean, Charbonneau was good enough that he won Rookie of the Year. He had a great season for the Indians.
I've officially today put my scouting shoes away. I'm just awful, because I thought there's no way that Conforto would have the year that he's had and be sent down to Las Vegas twice. Never thought it happened.
Well, there was a lot expected from him, and it didn't happen. And
driven toward the left field corner by Darno, back near the wall. It's out of here. Travis Darno with a line drive 2-run homer. Fourth home run of the year for Darno, and the Mets begin to climb back. It's now 5-2 San Diego. So Darno throws out a base runner and now hits a 2-run homer. His night off to a rip-roaring start.
Turned on a fastball in.
Well, 4 home runs for Darno. First one this year. That didn't come on the first pitch.
Now Alejandro De Aza.
Well, this game's a long way from over.
That Mets home run means $2,000 for No Kid Hungry, enough to provide 20,000 healthy meals courtesy of Citi.
10th home run given up by Clemens in
28 1/3 inning.
Oh my gosh, the Stratomatic card is going to be loaded.
Well, if yesterday was the bottom of the barrel, first inning brought them to their knees. Come back for ages. Worked just fine.
Well, if you'll remember, the low point of the Mets season last year came when the Padres were in town. That rain-delayed 9th inning where Justin Upton hit the 3-run homer off Jerry's Familia. A day after Wilmer Flores' tears, and a day before Flores hit the walk-off home run against the Nationals that turned the season around.
Mets played the rest of the way 20 over, approximately.
And the skies are beginning to clear.
Where's Richie Havens in the day?
In the air to right field. Blash gets turned around but finds it and makes the catch for the first out.
Well, Darno turns on this. Look at the barrel of that bat. How far it's a little bit shorter swing that time. But like I said, it's a lot of swing, that arc of the bat to get squared up.
Just the opposite of that home run by Jabari Blash with that long extended follow through for Darno.
There's Matt Reynolds sitting 8th in the order. And he takes a curveball for a strike from Clemens. How many times in his baseball career do you think Paul Clemens has been asked if he's related to Roger?
Well, if you're a baseball fan, you got to know he's not, because he names Roger names all of his children letter K, right?
That could have been his cousin or his nephew, but he's not related in any way. Paul's dad was an FBI agent, and they moved around a lot as a kid, so he's from basically everywhere.
Wow, like an Air Force brat.
Went to high school in Virginia, born in South Carolina. 1-2 coming, and the curveball. He foul tips it, and it's held by Bethancourt. First strikeout of the night for Clemens. 2 down. Logan Verrett 1 for 25 in his major league career. So Verrett, whose tenure in this game looked tenuous in the first inning, trying to keep himself around for a while. And a better second inning, and now the Mets have begun coming back. Late swing foul.
Always, when you're a pitcher's up at the plate, Gary, if he's a right-hand hitter and you're in the first base dugout, you've got to be on alert. These tardy swings, they can do some damage.
Did you see Carlos Santana get hit in the head in the dugout yesterday?
By his teammate Lindor. Had to leave the game, contusion in the back of his head.
Curveball gets Verrett looking. Strike 3. Back-to-back strikeouts for Clemens. But the Mets begin the uphill climb. Leadoff single by Loney. Travis d'Arnaud lines a 2-run homer. 5-2 San Diego going to the third. On SNY is brought to you by Jeep and the unique brand of freedom you'll only find in the full line of Jeep vehicles. Visit Jeep.com to learn more. Third inning at Citi Field. Mets down 5-2.
Oh, nice camera action, huh?
That's the angle we used to see from the upper deck. Down here is Solarte, hooks one foul as we start the third inning. Solarte was at the plate when Will Myers was caught stealing to end the second. Drew a walk his first time up. That's a nice looking sky after a little rain passed through. Down the left field side, that'll go out of play. Seems like we've had a pretty good run on rainbows lately, more than I can remember.
Keith said he saw a double rainbow, didn't you? Or Gary did?
We both did.
Oh.
Same. It was the same one.
I actually saw last week a full rainbow, arc to arc.
So that day was
Complete with pot of gold.
2 pots of gold that one day.
On the inside corner, Solarte caught looking, and Verrett has his 3rd strikeout.
Well, there's the pitch that Verrett was trying to establish in the 1st inning and could not. That fastball inside the lefties. When you have a lineup that has a lot of left-handed power early in the lineup, you've got to be able to establish that, and he has now here in the 3rd with that strikeout.
So 1 out now. Alex Dickerson, who flied to left his first time, and he pulls one down the right field line for a base hit, and that'll go all the way back to the wall. And Dickerson scoots into second base with a 1-out double.
Lefties like that ball down.
The ball comes off his bat pretty good, doesn't it, Dickerson?
Dickerson was a San Diego area kid who was so lightly regarded by the colleges that he wound up playing at Indiana University. I mean, think about that. A San Diego kid winds up playing in the Big Ten. It's not what you'd expect.
With all those great schools out there, right? Just in his home city.
There's Ryan Schimpf, and he hits another one in the air to deep right field. Back goes Bruce, takes a look, and it's up into the Coca-Cola corner. A 2nd home run tonight for Ryan Schimpf. This one a 2-run shot, and the Padres now lead at 7-2.
Wow.
Grand slam first at bat, 2-run homer second at bat. Huge night already for Ryan Schimpf.
First ball, fastball hitting, fastball in, Ron, and he turned on it.
Well, the difference is Verrett struck out Solarte with 2 strikes inside. Then he came in on Dickerson, a double. Then he tried to come in on Schimpf. What are most hitters looking for when they come up to the plate? Something middle of the plate in to go bridge. And he did.
If you're going to come in, you want to go up and in, and that's got a little bit of plate.
Boy, oh boy, that erased Darno's blast quickly.
Ryan Schimpf now has 140 at bats. He's hit 12 home runs. And, you know, he's not a big guy. He's a little powder keg.
Get back to your Kevin Moss reference. You can use him twice in this broadcast.
Two and two to Jabari Blash, who followed Schimpf's home run in the 1st inning with one of his own. This will get Seth Lugo back up in the bullpen after Schimpf's 2nd blast of the night. And a half swing. Did Blash go around? He did. Strike 3. That's the 2nd out and the 4th strikeout for Verrett.
So you couldn't get your back-to-back shrimp from the Blash.
He doesn't want to do that.
I understand.
I think once was enough. Probably like for a lifetime. There's Lugo. You know, when the Mets considered whether they were going to take Verrett out of the rotation, they thought about Jonathan Neese, who was working out of the bullpen here. And Neese, of course, had a blow-up inning yesterday, and now it turns out John has a bit of a knee issue, which is part of the reason why the Mets made the move today to bring up Lugo to give themselves a little depth in the bullpen. 1-1 to Bethancourt. The other options down in AAA, Gabriel Ynoa, down in AA, Rafael Montero. And that's about as far as the consideration goes right now if Verrett loses that spot in the rotation. And he certainly has not done anything to solidify it tonight. Bounce foul by Bethancourt, 1-2. Verrett struck out Bethancourt his first time up. 2-2. A blast to deep left center field. Diaz back, takes a look, and the Padres have gone deep again. Christian Bethancourt with his 6th home run of the year. The Padres' 4th home run off Logan Verrett, and his night will come to a very quick end. 8-2 San Diego. About as bad as it gets for Logan Verrett. After the Mets got spanked by the Diamondbacks yesterday, Verrett gets an early exit tonight. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon. 8-2 San Diego in the 3rd. We'll come right back to Citi Field. Nick Noonan grounds the first pitch by Seth Lugo to Neil Walker, who throws him out. Lugo throws one pitch, gets the 3rd out of the inning. Early exit for Logan Verrett and an 8-2 San Diego lead in the 3rd. Coors Light. That's got off to a fast start this year, but things have not gone well since the early part of May. They're 9 games under 500 since that 21-12 start. Down 8-2 tonight as they'll come up in the bottom of the 3rd against Paul Clemens, who gave up a 2-run homer to Travis d'Arnaud in the 2nd. Padres got that back and more in the next half inning. Here's tonight's Verizon trivia question. Which former Mets skipper managed the 2008 U.S. Olympic team in Beijing?
Got that one.
Hope so. Didn't he also manage the Chinese team at one point?
Yeah.
I think he did, didn't he? Here's Curtis Granderson, who leads off the home 3rd and takes a curveball strike. Granderson popped up to short his first time up. TJ Rivera on deck, then Neil Walker in the bottom of the 3rd.
Well, it's not quite like rolling the headless Thompson Gunner, but there are mercenary managers out there.
Hey, you got to go where the jobs are. Both Bobby Valentine and Terry Collins managed in Japan. There are American managers who've gone to Korea and Taiwan. Fouled away, 2-2.
Isn't Mike Piazza part of the coaching group of the Italian team in the World Baseball Classic?
Yep. I believe he was the hitting coach for that team. I'm not sure if the Italian team has retired his number yet. Granderson hits the curveball into the shift. Schimpf throws him out. 1 away.
Mike would say, wait on the ball, let it travel deep, hit it over the right center field fence. They said, Prego, Prego. That was it. Gone.
Here's TJ Rivera, who hit the ball hard his first time up, lined out to left field. TJ playing 3rd base, his 2nd big league start. 2 for 7 to begin his career, after leading the Pacific Coast League in hitting upon his exit. Now Rivera with the Mets and Michael Conforto back in the Pacific Coast League. Who would have figured that? On the ground to Noonan, and he throws out Rivera, 2 out.
Oh yes.
Now how come the Keith button is bigger than all of the other pins and buttons?
You have to ask that question. Really?
That's the panic button right there. You can't miss it.
I didn't realize you were associated with Panic.
Is that me also right there? Or is that Rusty, the batter?
Rusty.
Looks like Rusty, doesn't it? Very nice. I
Don't-
remember that button.
Don't you take up enough space as it is?
Oh, Garrett, I'm larger than life.
I'm sure you've had to sign a few of those buttons, right?
Al, you think that was funny? I don't.
First time this week, Al hasn't been eating something while we're doing the broadcast. There you are.
Yeah, larger than life. With some pretty good players around me.
Looked like you were larger than AG, but smaller than Piazza.
Well. Whoa.
That you'd fit in that extended cap.
That's that's right, with the dog.
1-2 to Walker, who walked his first time up. '28-year-old Paul Clemens, who did his first big league tenure in Houston in 2013 and 14, mostly out of the bullpen. And the curveball misses to Walker, 2-2. Well, it's that time of year when we have to say goodbye to our hardworking interns. Our friend Zach Smolev is going back to George Washington University after a hard summer of work here, and he was of great assistance to us in the booth and in the truck. So Zach, have a great year at school and come on back and see us. Take some of the jobs from folks here. That's the next step.
Be kind when you're talking to your classmates about the guys in the booth, please, if you can.
Ball 4, and Walker walks for the second time. Well, it's clear that Paul Clemens has read the scouting report. Don't let Neil Walker beat you.
8-2. Pitch to him. No free passes. Especially when you've given up 10 home runs.
But that's an interesting question, Ronnie. As a starting pitcher, you get an early lead, and you know you've had the scouting report drilled into you, the game plan for the night. How easy is it, and is it necessary to change your mindset on the fly?
It's easy. You got to make the adjustment. You got 8 points up there, and you got Walker down 1 and 2, and you threw 2 consecutive curveballs off the plate and then miss with your fastball. You can't do that. You get to 2 and 2 when you're in a game like this, then you challenge him. This is a big ballpark. Something away, let him hit it to center field.
Here's Jay Bruce. Grounded out to the right side his first time up. Well, here's some good news for the Mets. White Sox lead the Marlins 3-0 in the 3rd inning. It's about the only thing the Mets have going for them right now is that the wild card race has had no clear cut team to pull away.
It's like, I got it, you take it. No one's taking the bull by the horns.
Cardinals lost this afternoon. Marlins trailing tonight.
They got clobbered this afternoon.
That's pulled down the right field line. Foul.
Well, it's the nature of the beast. There's a few very excellent teams, and there's a lot of middling teams. That's why they're having a hard time sustaining any good play.
Well, the interesting thing is this was supposed to be the year when, because you had a number of teams that were non-competitive, right? The Milwaukees, the Cincinnatis, the Atlantas, that the better teams, or even the teams in the middle, would fatten up and have big years, and that it would take even more wins to get the wild card. But it's not working out that way.
Except for the Cubs.
No, but I'm saying the next tier, the wild card, right? You might be able to get a wild card with 87 wins the way it's going right now. Whereas at the start of the season, you would have thought it might take 90 to 92.
Especially after last year, where the wild card teams had 95 and 98 respectively, 95, 96, something like that.
Well, that National League Central last year was a beast.
Yeah.
Pirates and Cardinals got the wild cards. Or Pirates and Cubs, excuse me. The Cardinals won the division.
Yeah.
Well, that's where it is. I mean, Miami, 6 games over, has the second wild card. And trailing tonight. Dodgers have been able to keep their heads up.
Good news is that if you're in the middle of August and you're a 500 team, you're in some kind of race. The bad news is, are you just a 500 team?
Bruce able to stay alive as he nips the curveball.
Clemens' whole game, he's got a little good rotation on his curveball. He's able to throw it off speed breaking ball that kind of floats up there, kind of like a Mike Krukow curveball, if I recall. Not overpowering, kind of sits up there and hangs and gets good snap late.
7th pitch of the at bat coming to Bruce, and he fouls back the fastball. Clemens throwing a little harder tonight than is normal for him. Averages 91.8 on his fastball this year.
It's interesting. He has 2 different arm angles. When he throws the fastball, he drops down. When he throws the curveball, he gets on top. You can see it here. I'm sure you can see it on the bench. I don't know if you can see it in the box.
This is with a changeup, and now it's 2-2 to Bruce.
This young man pitching a little skittish with the 6-run lead.
You just got a 6-run lead. You don't want to walk anybody.
And Bruce pops it up. The shortstop Noonan, alone on the left side, gets into foul ground to grab it. Nice play by Noonan to end the inning. A walk and 1 left after 3. 8-2 San Diego. On Twitter during the 5th inning of tonight's game for details on how to enter the SNY 5th inning sweepstakes. Check swing grounder by Paul Clemens down to Loney for the first out. SNY's 5th inning sweepstakes is presented by Tri-State Ford. Now Travis Jankowski comes up for the 3rd time. Singleton scored in the 1st, struck out looking in the 2nd. Padres hit 4 home runs against Logan Verrett, first Met pitcher to give up 4 home runs in a start since Bartolo Colon in Anaheim in April of 2014. I think that was what, Bart's 2nd start for the Mets?
Yeah, we were there.
Let's go to Doug Williams' report tonight. It's brought to you by Jeep. Doug?
Gary, thanks. Travis Jankowski, who's at the plate right now, such a good base stealer. And as we know, the Mets have really struggled against good base stealers over the last few weeks, especially in that series against the Diamondbacks. And you don't realize going in just how much preparation these opposing base runners have against Mets pitchers. And we know how badly some of the Mets young pitchers have struggled just with holding runners on, changing their looks. And I talked to both Jankowski and first base coach Tarek Brock, who Brock said they have booklets on each pitcher that go through head position, time to first, time to home, what past base runners, just like certain ones on your team, have done, what they've been able to do to steal bases. It really makes you think, makes you realize that it's not just about changing looks. It's not just about doing something different every once in a while. You really have to be so focused on being different to the plate, to first base each time, or they have information on you that'll bust you.
Well, the real good base stealers in my day, they knew me and I knew them. And it was just like pitching. You had to give them different looks every once in a while. You know, and I think that's honestly 2nd or 3rd grade in learning how to pitch on a professional level. Holding runners on is not that hard.
And why do you think it's become such an issue?
Because pitchers are taught to pitch one way. They don't have any adaptation to how they can release the ball to the plate. They are 1, 2, 3, throw. They don't have any way, unless they've had some years, of being able to, okay, quick to the plate, hold the ball, throw over, step off, quick to the plate. Now I hold it. He waits there, then I step off. All those things are, I find them really 2nd or 3rd grade as far as what you're supposed to do to hold runners. It's not about what you do, it's understanding the runners. What are they trying to do off you? How are they going to get their jump? For a right-hander, they're looking at your front knee. As soon as that breaks, as soon as that front knee breaks, they know they can go to the next base. So the 2 things I used to do, I told you about quick pitching and all that stuff. And then later in my career, I developed the balk move, where you would just twitch that left leg just a little bit, and once they would see that, you could throw the ball to first base. Umpires can't pick it up. It's all the little things that you have to try to do to balance out those guys who can fly, because the guys who can really fly, it's really not a lot you can do if you don't hold them close, because they just have such great natural gifts that the catcher's not going to have a chance.
But that doesn't seem to be the issue right now. You're not talking about the Tim Raines or the Eric Davis, the guy who's capable of stealing 80 bases a year as Myers fouls him off his foot. You're talking about guys who are taking advantage of the opportunities that are being presented, guys who have 2 and 3 stolen bases all year who have been able to steal against the Mets.
Well, there hasn't been a big enough emphasis put on these young pitchers to hold runners close. Now there certainly is going to be as they move along, and it'll be a big thing this winter in spring training. But the game has changed right in their midst, where a lot of people are saying, you know, the running game isn't important. No one's going to be running.
Myers crashes one to deep center field. Beaza gets back, and will have room this time to make the catch.
So, you know, the game is changing now. They have the advanced scouting like they've always had, but teams are trying to take advantage of the Mets because they have such a talented pitching group. How do you take advantage? By stealing bases.
We go to the bottom of the 4th with the Mets down 8-2. We go to the bottom of the fourth. Paul Clemens and the Padres with an 8-2 lead. James Loney singled to right and scored in front of Travis d'Arnaud's home run his first time up. And takes a fastball for a strike. Base hit for Loney, snapped an 0 for 13 stretch. d'Arnaud and De Aza to follow for the Mets in the fourth. On a night when the Padres have already hit 4 home runs, Loney hits one into the shift. Solarte, the third baseman, throws him out. And it's a 5-3 putout. Well, if you've been with us all season, you know that Eddie Warman is one of our associate producers, handles the graphics down in the truck, and he has modern ideas about baseball. Some of them out there, some of them more in the mainstream, and so we've developed a segment called Eddie Says. And one of the things that Eddie says is, such a scowl on his face. You know, he's really a nice guy. We should really emphasize that.
He is a great guy.
He says, "Stop sacrifice bunting. Outs are precious." Now, I saw that they were going to put this up from the truck, and I asked our producer to ask Eddie whether he also believes that pitchers shouldn't sacrifice, and he says nobody should sacrifice.
Well, there's not enough stats to document if pitchers stop bunting and hitting into double plays what will happen. But I can understand that. We watch hitters all the time. Let's take the pitchers out of it. We watch hitters all the time. Now think about it. These guys that bat 8th in the lineup, right? They still batted 3rd or 4th for their high school and college team. So none of them ever bunted in games. They don't want to bunt in games. Then they're asked to do it, and they can't get the job done. And we sit up here, and hard for us to understand.
Oh, nice backhand pick, Solarte, but he double clutches the throw, and d'Arnaud is able to beat it out. Solarte with a terrific stop. I'm not sure whether he thought maybe it was a foul ball, but he did not get rid of it quickly. And on the double clutch, d'Arnaud has an infield hit.
How can he think that ball's foul? It's right in front of him. No, he saw he had a bad grip. He had the bad grip. Had to reload. Really nice play is right here. Back to Eddie. Is Eddie an American League fan?
Well, he did work with the Orioles broadcast for a while.
Okay.
So he does have a little American League.
Is he aware that there's, he says no bunting. He's aware there's no DH in the National League. Eddie? He's aware. Okay, good.
What he's saying is not wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, to say pitchers shouldn't bunt, I think takes it way too far because most pitchers don't hit very well. Out at second, the return throw by Noonan, not in time, and De Aza beats it out to a 3-6 fielder's choice for the second out. But if you take the pitchers out of it, because clearly pitchers, I think, should bunt in most circumstances because most of them can't hit. If outs are precious, 2 outs are more precious, then you risk double plays. But I think that the stats will tell you that over the long term, bunting is not a good thing, but situationally it can be. If you do it in the 9th inning when you're in a tie game or you're down by a run, it does make sense, and it does enhance your chances of scoring a run even though you give up an out.
What if you're bunting, Eddie, and it's John Lester who's pitching? Does that make a difference? Is that a time you would never ever bunt a pitcher who doesn't like to field or throw the ball around the infield? Oh, good. We just heard Eddie said he could consider that.
Ooh, we've seen a crack in the armor.
What's
there
wrong?
is a breach. Paul Clemens is going to get a visit from the trainer, and his manager Andy Green is out there as well.
Well, he just ran to cover first, so I wonder if something happened there, but got a 6-run lead. I've never had an injury.
Gone. Is he going to stay?
Yeah,
he's staying.
Well, he's got, he needs 1 1/3 for a W.
There's never been a pitcher in the history of the game that has had a 6-run lead and left the game in the 4th inning.
Didn't seem to be anything happen there.
So he's a goofy right-hander.
See him looking at his right hand. When he stopped, did he scrape his hand against the ground? Is that what happened? In any event, Matt Reynolds bats with 2 out and a runner at first and fouls off the curveball.
I think he's just a little goofy. Usually we reserve that for the left-handers, but
maybe he was thinking about what Eddie said.
You think that announcer said that about us when we played? Darlings, I just think that Darling's a little goofy.
Tim McCarr. I mean, you could say a lot about me. Goofy is not one of them, but there's 1,000 other descriptions. All of them bad.
Reynolds struck out his first time up. So Eric Goodell up in the bullpen, but Seth Lugo, the pitcher, is out on deck.
I mean, right there, Clemens steps off the mound and is wondering, looking at the Piazza with a 6-run lead. He's not going anywhere.
Shouldn't go anywhere.
And he's thrown over. Well,
but again, doesn't that come from the bench?
If it comes from the bench, I have to get a pink slip.
Noonan handles it, goes the short way and gets the force, and that ends the inning. After 4 at Citi Field, 8-2 San Diego. Dealers who invite you to test drive a new Ford. You'll discover why Ford is the total package. Just had a scoreboard proposal. The answer appeared to be yes.
I mean, the other way is very embarrassing.
Well,
oh, can you imagine? I think it happened once at a basketball game, like a professional basketball game, and he did this young man did a whole big thing, came out of a box, and then asked her, and she was like, "Oh, no way."
Rejected.
Oh. If you're going to set up the ballpark proposal, you better have 100% surety that you're getting a yes.
That's really unfair too, because you're putting the pressure on your mate there.
Solarte takes low, 2-1. Seth Lugo's retired 4 in a row after coming in for Logan Verrett, who got smacked around for 4 home runs, 8 runs, and 6 hits over 2 2/3. Solarte has walked and struck out tonight. Down here with Solarte, started his career with the Yankees, then was traded at the deadline 2 years ago for Chase Headley. And he's done a nice job for San Diego. Popped it up. Rivera calls for it. 1 away.
Solarte with the follow through caught Travis d'Arnaud. Got a big long swing.
Not the first time that's happened to Travis. Here's Alex Dickerson, who doubled into the right field corner his last time up, 1 for 2 on the night. I mentioned that Dickerson is from San Diego. His little league team played on a field which is down the block from where Petco Park now stands. Petco Park didn't exist when he was playing Little League. He used to go to games out at Jack Murphy Qualcomm Stadium out in the valley.
Loved to play in that ballpark. Before they enclosed it, it was beautiful when it was wide open.
Yeah, they enclosed it for the Chargers.
Right, and Super Bowl was really the main thing. Be able to get a Super Bowl there.
I don't know, that was never my favorite ballpark.
Oh,
You like that?
Oh, I wore it out. That's why I loved it.
Well, it was, yeah, it wasn't a home run hitter's ballpark. It was much more suited to you. Big gaps.
Oh, I hit line drives all over that field.
Played fast in the infield also.
Yes, it did. And you know what was cool about that, and Ronnie will remember too, is that the first inning when the mercury vapor lights grabbed the field, the moths would come up on the infield grass and the swallows would come in and dive bomb around the infield. And it was just quick. It was a thing of beauty. I had to step out a couple times when one got in the way, but only in the first inning.
One of my favorite quirks about Jack Murphy Stadium is they have the bullpens in the corners, and the stands kind of came in front of the bullpen, and the ball could go down the line into the bullpen, and the outfield would have to go back there and throw the ball over the stands to get it back into the infield.
Yep, it was very odd.
The other part was the dugout was underneath the stadium, underneath the stand, sorry. So at least 6 or more times a game, someone would drop their beer and it would just drip into the dugout for as long as beer drips.
And beer drips forever.
It does.
3-2 coming, and Dickerson flies one out to center. In comes De Aza. 2 out. So 6 up and 6 set aside by Lugo. Well, next 2 days will be on picks of the next SNY telecast. First game of the road trip in Arizona. Mets open a 10-game trip against the Diamondbacks, looking for a little revenge. Monday night at Chase Field. Coverage begins 8:30 Monday night on SNY.
Got to keep your time straight on the ball games in Arizona. They tend to change it up on you.
Well, also because they don't have daylight savings time there. Depends if it's winter or summer. In winter, there's a 2-hour time difference. In summer, there's a 3-hour time difference. And they play the games at 6:40 local time, which is odd in itself. Ryan Schimpf has homered twice already tonight. A grand slam in the first inning, a 2-run homer in the third. And for the rookie second baseman, already his second multiple home run game of the year. 12 home runs in just 140 big league at bats.
Well, here's the first inning salami. No doubter here. In the third inning, he turns on it. And this was a no doubter. Second tank.
Both those home runs against Logan Verrett. Now Lugo comes inside, and Schimpf gets a little too far out in front.
Schimpf has a little bit of a Brandon Moss approach. Moss came up with the Red Sox, had some big years in Oakland, with the Cardinals now. Big power hit, hitting lefty.
As a middle infielder, is not very big. When he first went through the minor leagues, he got the Dustin Pedroia comparisons because he has a little bit of pop. But it's taken him a long time. I mean, he's 28, getting his first big league experience. Signed as a free agent with the Padres, originally in the Toronto organization. Steps out on Lugo. He was not granted time, it didn't appear.
Just everyone shut it down.
Two from Lugo, and Schimpf strikes out to end the inning. So Lugo with an impressive outing, 2 1/3, retires 7 in a row. Halfway through, it's 8-2 San Diego. short night for Logan Verrett. Gave up 4 home runs, including a pair to Ryan Schimpf, who has driven in 6 of the 8 San Diego runs. Paul Clemens, the beneficiary, with an 8-2 lead as we go to the bottom of the 5th. Ty Kelly will pinch hit for the Mets, batting for Seth Lugo, who was impressive in his 2 1/3 of relief. Kelly had an at bat yesterday, flied out to left field. Kelly, then Granderson and Rivera against Clemens, looking for his first victory as a Padre. Kelly hooks one in the air to right field. Blash has room going back onto the warning track to get it. 1 out.
They're just not quite waiting enough on that breaking ball. The off-speed breaking ball has got the Met hitters out in front consistently.
So here's Granderson, who's 0 for 2. Well, Paul Clemens working with a big lead, and he's been able to keep his uniform clean tonight. In his last start against the Phillies, Clemens had to change out of his number 47 uniform to this, the generic player number 91 jersey, because he had too much pine tar. That's lined up the middle, and Granderson has a base hit. Hit it right through player 91. And the Mets have their 4th hit. I'm just not certain about the player 91 thing, right? I mean, it was a generic uniform, but why did they have the word player in the name spot?
Yeah, if it wasn't 1991 or something. What I find interesting is that a pitcher with too much pine tar in his uniform is not thrown out of the game. I mean, where's the pine tar come from?
I guess it wasn't on the ball, or at least they didn't detect it on the ball. You know, we went through this a couple of years ago with the whole pine tar thing, and the thing you always heard was everybody uses it, just be discreet about it.
That's I'm always shocked by that. Never used pine tar in my life. Never even heard of it. Now, did I know guys used it? Of course.
Well, Davey had someone thrown out of the game in the playoffs with
Jay
the Dodgers.
Howell, right?
Yes.
1988.
Oh, more of a slurve there, like it came 3/4 and didn't get the overhand curve ball. Kind of got a little slide ball on that. He's got a sweeping breaking ball.
TJ Rivera is lined to left, grounded to short, 0 for 2. He takes that one out of the strike zone, 1 and 2.
The kind of breaking ball, if you're going to be offensively effective against it, you got to kind of go the other way if you're a right-handed hitter, because if you continue to pull it, it's going to be a ground ball to the left side.
Granderson at first and 1 out. And that's well outside, 2 and 2.
I always found with guys with the big sweepers and off speed had a lot of bite. You just get more relaxed, get less crouched and more relaxed at the plate, and it enabled me to wait on it. It just worked for me.
There goes Granderson. Little nubber back to Clemens, and he makes the play on Rivera. That's a shocker seeing Granderson moving with the Mets down by 6 runs.
Maybe Clemens knew more than I knew, throwing open when De Aza was there last inning.
So 2 out. Granderson at second. Here's Neil Walker, who's been up twice and walked both times against Clemens. The only 2 walks Clemens has given up. Clemens needs a conversation with Bethencourt. Gives us a chance to show you the city probables for the remainder of the series. Jacob deGrom, who's on an incredible roll, will go up against the former Marlin Jared Cosart. And then Sunday, Steven Matz goes for the Mets. And the once and now again Padre Clayton Richard will be on the mound.
Released by the Cubs in early August. Came back home.
Former Michigan quarterback. Fastball away to Walker, ball 1. Didn't he compete with Tom Brady for the quarterback job?
I don't know about that, but I know that he was like Mr. Indiana. You know, great baseball, basketball, football player.
Brady's never going to be a good 6th round pick. taken high, 2-0. Well, Logan Verrett started tonight. Of course, he's taken Matt Harvey's spot in the rotation since Matt was shut down for the season with thoracic outlet surgery.
See Clemens on the mound, takes the glove off and the ball, lays it on the. I mean, it's obviously bothering me. Gotta get over it.
And now 3-0 to Walker, who's already walked twice tonight.
He's playing with fire. I know Bruce is not swinging the bat good right now. He's a little bit of a funk, but Bruce has got almost 30 home runs. One swing, it's a 3-run ball game.
And he walks Walker for the 3rd straight time. Remember early in the season when Walker wasn't walking at all? Well, now he is.
Well, Clemens is doing a lot of stretching and twisting, and
he's already had the trainer go out to the mound once tonight.
He's got the pitching coach to come out and make sure he's all right for one final out.
Aaron Balsley, who has survived several managerial changes and remained pitching coach in San Diego.
Wasn't he a pitching coach with the Astros here at one point? When they were in the National League. I'm not sure.
I don't remember that. He's been with San Diego for so long.
His 13th season as the Padres pitching coach.
And I'm wrong.
So a chance for Bruce to do some damage here with 2 out and 2 on. Jay has grounded out and popped up 0 for 2. It's waiting for Bruce to get going. Just 6 for 37 in a Mets uniform. Has 55 extra base hits this year. Only 4 players in the National League have more. And it's a really small sample size. But Jay, who was hitting .360 with runners in scoring position when the Mets got him, is 1 for 7 so far since joining the Mets. Refuse to believe it's contagious. Curveball hit hard through the hole, a base hit. Granderson being waved around third. He'll score without a throw. So Jay Bruce comes through with a runner in scoring position, drives in Granderson to make it 8-3.
Granderson stopped. Tuffle was giving him kind of a nonchalant go home, wave home, and Curtis misinterpreted. I don't know how. He stuttered rounding third. Nice hitting. Someone finally waited on that curveball. Watch this. There's 2 outs. I don't know what he was stopping for. Tuffle was sending him on. Waiting on that, a little bit out in front, but not. That's a good weight right there, and the ball's ripped. So 2 for 8 and runners in scoring position, Garrett.
85th RBI for Bruce, his 5th as a Met. So now it's 8-3. James Loney up with 2 out and 2 on. Loney's 1 for 2 tonight. And it's on the inside corner. Loney thought it was in tight. Ball 1. Strike 1.
There's the base hit. Granderson coming around. He's looking behind him. There's 2 outs. He's just running. I don't know what he stopped for. Right there.
Loney hits it in the air down the left field line, slicing away from Dickerson, and that ball is foul. Disappeared from our view as Dickerson went into the corner. Let's take a look.
Now, the way the dimensions are in foul territory, almost impossible to ask your fielder to make those plays. Bethencourt just threw a seed back to Clemens.
Walker at second, Bruce at first with 2 out. Clemens ahead on Loney 0-2. And Loney fouls that one off. Loney's one of the few hitters in the Mets lineup who has seen Clemens before. He's now got 3 hits and 5 career at bats against this right-hander. Clemens picked up on waivers from the Marlins in late June, making his 4th start for the Padres, who have almost completely turned over their starting rotation from the beginning of the year. And Loney takes strike 3 called, inning over. 3rd strikeout for Clemens. Mets settle for 1 run on the Bruce RBI hit. 8-3 San Diego. Jit stays in the game at 3rd base, and the new pitcher Eric Goodell will hit 2nd in the order.
Eric Goodell's numbers. He pitched in the first game against Arizona, got 4 outs and a strikeout, gave up no runs. His Jeep numbers for the year. He's been outstanding.
Got the fastball, that curveball, and that split finger.
Here's Jabari Blash to lead off in the 6th inning. Blash homered in the 1st inning, his 3rd of the year. Goodell pitching for the 3rd time in the last 4 days. Facing 6, 7, and 8 in the San Diego batting order. Padres exploded out of the gate tonight with 5 runs in the 1st inning. Ryan Schimpf a grand slam. Blash followed with a home run of his own. 2 more home runs in the 3rd inning knocked Verrett out of the game. Seth Lugo was perfect in relief over 2 1/3. Retired all 7 batters. Just back from Las Vegas and making a bid to stay longer.
Yeah.
And Blash swings through the fastball, 2-2. And Blash strikes out on the high fastball. So Goodell fans the first man to face him. We'll check in with the studio for a game break. CJ Papa has it, brought to you by your local Honda dealers. Marlins leading that second wild card chase. Mets 3 behind them. Here's Bethancourt, who homered his last time up, his 6th of the year, and he takes a curveball for a strike.
Makes Goodell so effective is that he has the ability to throw not only his curveball but his split finger for strikes, especially when he's behind in the count.
You know, it caught my eye today looking at the White Sox there leading the game with the Marlins. They lost to the Royals yesterday. Danny Duffy pitched a complete game against them. When was the last time we reached this point in the season where both defending league champions were at 500 or below? The Royals are 4 games under. The Mets are at 500. I mean, that's got to be pretty unusual, right?
I would think so.
The White Sox got off to a rip-roaring start, then they faded. Kansas City had a great run, then they faded. The Indians have been the best team in the American League over the last 6 weeks.
And the Tigers are coming.
Maybe that's overstating the case because Texas has been pretty good too over the last couple of months, and they've really refortified themselves. Good high fastball. Back-to-back strikeouts for Goodell as he gets Bethancourt. 2 out.
When you're facing young lineups, throw strikes early and then just expand the strike zone. Most young hitters want to swing the bat, and when you get ahead of them, they will swing at just about anything.
Now Nick Noonan, who was flied out and grounded out 0 for 2. Good splitter by Goodell to get him ahead 0 and 2.
Boy, it's amazing. This not only the pitching staff, Gary, this whole team is different for San Diego. It's amazing.
Well, you look at the lineup the Padres are putting out tonight, compare it to the lineup the Mets faced in May, and really Will Myers is the only constant. Everything else has changed.
Yes.
Strike 3 call. Got the splitter in for a 3rd strike, and Goodell strikes out the side in the 6th inning. It's still down by 5.
13th to watch the Mets take on the San Diego Padres at 7:10 p.m. Plus, stay after the game as Styx, one of the most popular rock groups of all time, performs as part of the Mets postgame concert series presented by Budweiser. Admission to the concert is included in the price of the game ticket. For tickets, visit Mets.com/concerts. Go, Gary.
So that was Dave Freed reading the Styx promo. And
I could be an announcer. We know
Yeah,
that
no,
now.
Dave, it's not that easy. Tell us.
here's the thing, Dave.
Yeah.
We allowed you to read the Styx promo earlier this week, and we allowed you to read it a second time because of the premise that you are a big Styx fan. Alexi Ramirez in to play short, Buddy Bauman on pitch.
Correct.
Now, the concert is tomorrow night, and I understand, as d'Arnaud lines a base hit in the left, his third hit of the night. It's my understanding that you have no intention of being here as a fan of Styx, that you are not coming to the ballpark tomorrow night, despite the fact that your favorite rock group, Styx, for whom we've allowed you to read the promos, is playing. You are not going to be in the ballpark.
Could I explain myself?
Well, you can try.
In my contract, I only have a certain amount of games, and I'm not scheduled to work tomorrow. But that does not mean I will not be in the ballpark.
This sounds like a little revisionism, because as of a couple of hours ago, he had no plans to be here. But now that he's been called on it,
Yes.
it would appear that Dave is at least purporting interest in being here for the Styx concert. So we'll see. We'll report back tomorrow.
He's the wilting
Let you know.
flower, exactly how I thought he would be.
Alejandro Diaz is 0 for 2, and he fights one off. So Travis d'Arnaud, who has really been struggling, has thrown out a base runner trying to steal and had 3 hits, including a home run tonight. So amidst the morass of an 8-3 deficit, that's a positive note for the Mets. Oh, Diaz gets drilled.
Right in the neck. Hit him right in the neck.
I've never seen that. I think it was glancing.
Glare from Diaz. Bethancourt making sure that he has no ideas about heading Bauman's way, and Ray Ramirez out to give him some medical attention.
Well, that
he got hit in the hand a few days ago, and now he gets hit in the neck.
Oh, it could have got it. Oh, it got him in the cheek. That could have got him right full flush on the chin. Oh my word.
Well, he's walking down at first, but yeah, right at the back of the back of the cheek, side of the neck.
Oh, it's like
You wanted to go out there.
no. It's like, what do they pay you for that? I have an idea.
So Buddy Bauman, a 28-year-old rookie, making his 7th major league appearance. On an 0-2 pitch, hits Diaz in the neck. And Diaz very fortunate to be standing on first base rather than being treated in the clubhouse.
Twice he's been hitting the last week. He's been fortunate, right?
Opened up. One in Detroit that got him on the back of the hand looked like it could have been bad. Outside to Reynolds, ball 1.
Oh, I just don't. That's enough of that. That's dangerous.
Nothing wrong with pitching inside, but neck high.
This guy.
Clueless.
Yeah, right.
Right? Come on.
Well, at least he's got the stirrups on. His socks.
Does that absolve him in some way?
I don't know.
1-1 to Reynolds, who struck out and grounded into a fielder's choice.
Well, the door's been open for the Mets. There's 3 more. They got 4 more chances here. They'll peck away and get closer. Potential big inning.
Ty Kelly, hitting 9th in the order, is on deck. D'Arnaud at second, De Aza at first, nobody out, and Reynolds takes a strike on the outside edge. 1-2.
I like Paul Emmel's strike call. Here's the overhead right here. Got the corner, plenty of plate. Emmel's a little late with that right hand, but very peculiar way he called. He signals the strike.
Bethencourt, the catcher, asks for time. What is it about Bauman's stirrups that looks so odd? Is it just that I'm not used to seeing that much white showing, or is there something odd?
Right. Now I like them the stirrups that high, but you got to crease the pants underneath and bring them down just a little bit, where you cover up a little bit of that the arc of the sock.
I think it's the ankles and the black shoes. There's no separation between ankle and calf. Just goes straight in the boot.
Oh boy, he's all over the place.
What did you call it?
Ankles.
Thankle?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Thick ankles. Thick ankles. So they're so thick they go right into the boot. It's not like that little ankle you're supposed to have that goes into the shoe.
So you're saying his leg doesn't taper?
Yeah. That's why it looks funny with those black shoes. You don't see black shoes very often.
2-2 to Reynolds, and he lays off. Stopped it in time. Full count. Mike Estabrook, the first base umpire.
You can bring the pants if you just stay still. Stay still. You come right in here with it. Just right in there.
See, what you want is the line. You don't want the blue above the
They're a little bit too high, too.
Line.
A little bit too high. They are showing too much calf, Ron. Good call.
3-2, nobody out. And that's drilled to left field. Dickerson going back. It's turned around and can't make the catch. D'Arnaud is on his way home. De Aza to third. It's an RBI double from Matt Reynolds, and now the Mets fighting their way back again. It's 8-4.
He did get turned around here. Tough play. If he doesn't get turned around, he might make that play.
Well, we noted earlier that Dickerson is somewhat challenged defensively. Showed it there. But that ball was hit hard.
Ball was scalded. And Piazza does the right thing here. Comes all the way across. Good read. Yep. That's right. You got a 5-run lead.
So now the Mets are down 8-4. Second and third and nobody out. And Ty Kelly up for the second time. Come up as a pinch hitter. Flied out to the warning track in right field in the fifth. That was as a left-hand batter. Now he'll bat right-handed. De Aza at third. Reynolds at second and nobody out. That's on the corner.
Ball down in the strike zone. Reynolds stroked right here. Inner half, right down the pipe.
Right now you're in a situation with the Mets. Get them over and in. Situational baseball, back in the game.
Line base hit left field. De Aza is in. Reynolds holds at third. Ty Kelly drives in a run, and now it's 8-5, and the Mets will get the tying run of the plate here in the sixth inning.
Even better.
Four straight hits, three hits, and a hit by pitch. Not fooling anybody here. Off the end of the bat. And they're going to stall for some time here.
Well, you would think they would want Bauman to face one more batter with a left-hand hitter coming up. But he has not gotten anybody out. Give up a leadoff hit to d'Arnaud. Then he hit De Aza, and that might have disconcerted him a little bit, because he's given up hits to Reynolds and Kelly. And now Andy Green is on his way out to the mound, and that's going to be it. He's taking him out. So even with Granderson, the left-hand hitter, coming up, Green's going to go to a right-hander and take Bauman out of the game. So Buddy Bauman retires nobody. Mets have 2 runs home in the sixth, fighting their way back from 8-2. It's now 8-5. We'll be right back to Citi Field. Ready in his bullpen, the former Marlin Brad Hand will pitch.
Well, he's had a good year for them. He's pitched in a lot of ball games. This being his 57th. When he was with the Marlins, he went back and forth between starting pitching and relieving.
So Buddy Baumann faced 4 batters, retired none of them. He's given up 2 runs and leaves with 2 on base. Granderson's 1 for 3 tonight, singled and scored in the 5th. Reynolds at third, Kelly at first with nobody out. That's a score twice here in the 6th inning. And Curtis takes a strike. Granderson's seen plenty of Hand. He's 2 for 12 against him in his career. Reynolds had a double. Kelly had a single. They each drove in a run. Wilmer Flores out on deck to bat for the pitchers in the 2nd spot in the order. And Curtis with a check swing, strike. 0-2. So the starting pitcher, Paul Clemens, acquired on waivers from the Marlins in June. Brad Hand acquired on waivers from the Marlins back in April. And he strikes out Granderson with a slider. 3 pitches, and he takes care of Granderson for the first out of the inning. So 1 away. Now Wilmer Flores will pinch hit. Keep in mind the Mets are short on their bench. They made a move today to add an extra pitcher with Lugo coming up and Conforto going down, so only a 4-man bench. They've already used Kelly and now Flores. That leaves only Kelly Johnson and Rene Rivera.
I'm a bit surprised they're leaving a left-hander in to face Wilmer.
Nobody up in the Padre bullpen.
Boy.
1st and 3rd and 1 out. Wilmer, who has scorched lefties all year, hits one back toward the middle. Backhand stop. Nice play. Schimpf. He gets the force. Ramirez with the relay, not in time, and a run comes home. Schimpf with a terrific play to save a base hit. But Reynolds comes home on the play with the 3rd run of the inning to cut the Padre lead to 8-6.
Ball hit hard, played a tough in-between hop. Excellent attempt to turn the 2 by Ramirez. Remember, Flores doesn't run well. That's a heck of a play right there. He just barely beat it. Barely.
No challenge from the Padres. So 3 runs home in the inning. Flores at first with 2 out, and now Walker, who's been up 3 times and walked all 3. He turns around about right-handed for the first time tonight. And takes a fastball for a strike.
Well, here's the play again. Wilmer clearly beats it. Nice scoop all the way. Nice play in the infield there by the Padres. Everybody.
Mets have been fighting uphill all night. They were down 5-0 before they ever came to bat. They were down 8-2 in the middle of the 3rd. But a run in the 5th and 3 in the 6th have gotten them back in it. Diaz looking like he's just fine after taking that pitch off his neck.
Brad Hand has that rush motion, a little deceptive.
This is low to Walker, 2-1.
He really short arms it, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
We've seen Hand as a starting pitcher. We've seen him as a long man. We've seen him as a short man.
One thing I always remember is that he always had difficulty controlling that breaking ball. He throws hard enough from the left side.
Pitched parts of 5 seasons for the Marlins. Walker 0 for 4 in his career against Hand. Ooh. And that one goes behind Bethancourt, and that'll get Flores down to second.
Didn't get the wickets down. It's a wild pitch.
That was a spiked fastball.
Yeah, that's what happens when you rush your motion, you short arm.
I mean, as a pitcher, you can't really expect a catcher to get down for a fastball like that.
He asked you for a fastball away, set up away for paint, and then you throw it and it doesn't even reach the plate. Impossible for catcher. Not at that speed, 93, 94 miles an hour.
So now a runner in scoring position for Walker. Again, a 3-1 count to him. He's already walked 3 times tonight. Jay Bruce on deck. And Walker breaks his bat as he rolls one out to Ramirez. And that retires the side. But the Mets score 3 in the bottom of the 6th to get themselves back in the game. Travis d'Arnaud's 3rd hit of the night got it started. Diaza, a painful way to get on base. Matt Reynolds cashed 1 run with a double. Ty Kelly another with a base hit. And a 3rd run scores on a fielder's choice. And it's 8-6 Padres going to the 7th. 2, but a run in the 5th, 3 in the 6th, and now it's a 2-run game as we go to the 7th. Monday at 5:30, get all the reaction from this weekend's Mets-Padres series, plus a look back at A-Rod's career as a Yankee on Loudmouths, presented by Cheapo Air, Monday at 5:30, only on SNY. It's been a rough stretch for Hansel Robles. He tries to get it righted tonight.
Well, overall numbers are very good for Hansel, but he's had a couple of games, one in Yankee Stadium and one here on this homestand against Arizona. Kind of lost his cool a little bit.
Last outing against Arizona on Tuesday night gave up 3 runs in 2/3 of an inning. Alexei Ramirez up for the first time, the long-time White Sox shortstop in his first year in San Diego, now being shunted to a reserve role. And Robles quickly ahead of him, 0-2.
Robles is another one of those guys that Gary that I'd like to see pitch more inside to right-hand hitters. He likes to pitch away.
To Ramirez, and he reaches for it and stays alive. So I asked the question earlier, right? The Mets are at 500, the Royals are under 500. When was the last time this late in a season that both defending league champions were 500 or under? And you got to go back to 1994. The Phillies and Blue Jays had played in the World Series the year before. When the strike ended the season in 1994 on August 11th, both the Phillies and Blue Jays were under 500. So that's 22 years ago.
Wow.
Last time it happened. And this year, the Mets and the Royals, the 2 teams that played in the World Series last year, Royals are 4 games under, and the Mets are right at 500. It's always good when we can ask a question like that and get an answer.
Well, you've got friends in high places.
Well, I got Dave.
Oh, well, low places then.
Travis Jankowski on deck, and then Will Myers for the Padres in the 7th. That bullpen has been perfect so far tonight. Lugo and Goodell retired 10 in a row. That's on the inside corner. Ramirez caught looking.
Inside corner. Guy throws hard like that inside corner, particularly with 2 strikes.
Well, that's painting the corners.
You got it.
Stop by your local Sherwin-Williams store for all your painting needs. Well, that's 11 in a row retired by the Mets bullpen, and the last 5 via the strikeout.
That's the only way you get back in these games, is that your bullpen's just got to shut it down.
Travis Jankowski's 1 for 3 tonight, singled and scored back in the 1st, then struck out twice. And he takes a strike with a slider. Net pitchers have struck out 10 tonight through the first 6 1/3. Logan Verrett had a dreadful time of it as a starter tonight. Gave up 8 runs in 2 2/3, 4 home runs allowed, but bullpen has picked him up. Lugo for 7 outs, Goodell for 3, and now Robles. And Jankowski takes it for a strike, and it's 0-2.
Jankowski has a real big leg kick.
Will Myers on deck. Travis Jankowski, first ever first-round pick out of Stony Brook.
It's always a big thing when schools in the Northeast get a #1 pick. Just doesn't happen very often.
Happened for Yale back in
81.
81.
Yeah. It's a long time ago now, boy.
Now, I don't know this for sure, but I'm assuming that you are the first and probably the only first-round pick from Yale.
Yes.
Are you probably the most successful player ever to come out of Yale?
I would think that. I would think that's true too.
We got you beat.
But Yale has some successful people to go on to other things.
Yeah, I've heard that. See, at Columbia, we had this guy named Gehrig,
Yeah,
which kind of trumps, any other Ivy Leaguer who might have made it to the big leagues.
Why even go there after Gehrig?
Thought I was going to say Bob Clappish.
Clap.
1-2 to Jankowski. And just got a piece of it. You must have faced Clappish, right?
He says I did. I have to say that he says he did and that he struck me out, which is hard for me to believe. I've seen him throw a baseball and it's not pretty, but he's sticking to it, and I have no evidence against it. So what can I do?
I will say this: he pitched a lot longer than you did.
Yes, he
He's
did.
playing in the Met League into his 50s before he suffered an eye injury that ended his career.
He's hung around too long.
I guess so. 1-2 to Jankowski, and that's just off the corner. 2-2. If you wonder, Bob Clappish, of course, the esteemed sports writer, was a college pitcher at Columbia.
Probably knowing Bobby Clappish is probably in the Bronx tonight.
You saying he's a big event guy?
Yeah, he's a big event guy.
Like a Lupa guy?
Yeah. Our friend Joel Sherman. They don't just go to any old game.
I noticed Kevin Kernan is here tonight.
Well, he's a blue collar guy.
He's also a San Diego guy. Taken high on a full count to Jankowski. You don't want to walk this guy with his base stealing ability.
And it would be a perfect time at this stage of the game, now that the Mets have closed to 2, to attempt a steal.
Ninth pitch of the at bat from Robles to Jankowski. And he hits it out to left. Right there is Granderson. 2 out. So Robles wins that battle. 12 in a row retired by the Mets bullpen. And now Will Myers, who's walked twice and fly deep to center. When he hit that fly ball to center to end the 4th inning, it sounded like a cannonball.
Yeah, he's got great extension, and he also does something that you can't teach. Well, maybe you can teach it. He hits the ball with a lot of backspin, and it just carries.
Maybe a little like Ryan Braun.
Yeah, something like that. And he's got power to all fields. He can take you deep to right center in a heartbeat.
Now, he came to the Padres 2 winters ago in a 3-way deal. The Padres gave up Trey Turner and Joe Ross, who went to the Nationals, and Myers came from Tampa Bay to San Diego. There were other players involved in the deal. And Myers had a great year, but boy, Turner looks like he's going to be a star.
And Joe Ross, I think, is going to be a middle of the rotation guy who I think he has a chance to be a good solid pitcher.
Have to get him healthy again.
Yeah.
But it certainly has worked out well for San Diego. They moved Myers to a new position this year at first base, and that's worked out for them. Strike called, 1-2.
And they say that defensively, earlier in the year was shaky and has made a lot of improvement as the season's progressed with his defensive skills. Meyer at first base.
Robles ahead on 1-2. Foul back the fastball at 98.
Well, you know, Dick Enberg, the famous NBC sports announcer for years, he's next door to our right, and he does the Padre games. He loves baseball. He say absolutely loves doing the Padre games. He's the one I got the information about Meyer. He said that he's really improved defensively. There's Dick.
With Mark Grant.
Mark Grant, right-hander for the Padres.
Mud?
Yes.
Mud.
Straight cheese.
1-2. Off the corner, 2-2. Mark Grant was in that 1981 draft, wasn't he?
He was. I think he was picked right after me, number 10 in that first round by the San Francisco Giants. one of those high school kids who could throw 95.
Back when 95 meant something.
That's right.
It's been a hard-working inning for Robles. A lot of pitches to his 3 hitters. And now runs a full count to Myers. On Hervis Solarte would be next. Three-two coming to Myers. He popped it up. Reynolds waiting for it to come down. Side retired. 13 in a row retired by the Mets bullpen after Robles gets a 1-2-3 in the 7th. Stretch time at Citi Field. Mets trying to continue their comeback. Down 8-6. Brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. Jay Bruce leads off the home 7th against Brad Hand and takes a strike. Bruce drove in a run with a 2-out base hit in the 5th. It started this uphill climb. Mets were down 8-2 before that hit. Then they added 3 runs in the 6th inning to make it 8-6. Slider off the plate, a ball and a strike to Bruce. James Loney on deck, then Travis d'Arnaud. And came in with 2 on in the 6th. Retired 3 hitters as 1 run came home. And now staying on for the 7th. And the slider bends in for a strike, 1-2.
I know it's only a few pitches, but this is the best I've seen Brad Hand look. Working quick.
He's one of those guys that can look like a world beater, and then next time you see him, can't get anybody out. Good cut.
You know, Hand's been around a long time,
Yes,
but he's only 26, and he's from Minnesota. And you put together Minnesota, left-hander, relatively young. You'd think there might be room for improvement.
Well, he's definitely having a good year for San Diego.
And you know what I mean? The cold climate guys who maybe don't pitch so much when they're young. 1-2 coming. And Bruce takes call, third strike. Fastball on the corner. Second strikeout for Hand.
A little paint your wagon here. Not the Sherman Williams. Little cutter.
The corners, and then there's paint your wagon. So 1 out in the home seventh. Now James Loney, who's 1 for 3, singled back in the second. There's nobody up in the San Diego bullpen, so Andy Green hoping that Hand can get him through this inning. And that one came inside to Loney.
Big shift on the right side of the infield. That triangle shift on Loney. And he can hit the ball to left field.
Right?
Yep.
Against a left-hander with a shift.
I agree.
That's box score presented by StubHub. Travis d'Arnaud with a big night tonight, 3 for 3, including a home run. Jay Bruce, Matt Reynolds, Ty Kelly, all with RBI hits, as the Mets have had to fight uphill all night. They were down 5-0 and 8-2 early in this game.
They're out hitting the Padres 8-6, but the Padres have hit 4 bombs.
And the slider in for a strike. And Hand has had that breaking ball working and had the left-hand hitters bailing. One-two to Loney. Off the plate, 2-2. Paul Clemens was the starter for San Diego. Struggled his way through 5 innings, allowed 3 runs and 5 hits. Buddy Bauman faced 4 batters in the 6th inning, didn't retire any. He was charged with 3 runs and 3 hits before Hand bailed him out. Gave him a hand. Solarte playing on the right side. That's a 5-3 put out, 2 out. Second time that Loney has grounded out to Solarte on the right side of the infield. Confusing scorebooks everywhere. Big night for Travis d'Arnaud at the plate. It started in the 2nd inning.
3 for 3 on the night to be exact, but this was the home run. The 2-run shot. His first at bat in the 2nd that got the Mets on the board. Made it a 5-2 ball game.
Travis has never had a 4-hit game in the major leagues. Got a chance for one now. He fouls back the first pitch fastball. Travis has faced Hand before. He's 2 for 6 with a home run against him. Breaking ball down, a ball and a strike. Right hand from Chaska, Minnesota.
I don't know where that is.
It's right near Eden Prairie.
Oh yeah, I know.
Oh
that.
yeah.
Cold up there.
Yeah.
Is that where the Paul Bunyan statue is?
It's part of the Minneapolis, St. Paul, Bloomington metropolitan area. We were talking earlier tonight. We always talk about Canadians and how nice they are.
Yeah.
Minnesotans, almost Canadians.
Same. Played with Terry Steinbach, New Ulm, Minnesota. Great guy.
Popped up foul off the right side. 2-2 to d'Arnaud. Jerry Kuzman's from Minnesota.
That's one of the greatest. Lefty.
Two coming to d'Arnaud. And it ties him up, but he was able to stop the swing, and it's 3-2. Alejandro De Aza waiting on deck. And has retired 5 in a row in relief. Darno's worked the count to 3-2. And that's strike 3 called. Inning over. Third strikeout in relief for Hand. He retires 6 straight. That sends us to the 8th, with the Padres still up 8-6.
See where Big Poppy in Boston hit a home run, and that was his 1,000th career extra base hit.
That's pretty good, right?
That's doggone good.
Only flips to Robles, and Dickerson retired, 2 out. Let's answer our Verizon trivia question. We asked which former Mets skipper managed the 2008 U.S. Olympic team.
Oh, come on.
It was, of course, Davy Johnson.
They won the bronze.
Who won the gold? That would have been the question. Who won the gold that year? Who won the gold?
Well, you know, baseball's coming back to the Olympics next time around after being absent for the last 2 Olympics. Ryan Buchter is up in the bullpen. Looks like he'll pitch the 8th inning. Brandon Maurer these days is the closer for San Diego after Fernando Rodney was traded to Miami. Here's Schimpf, who's hit a pair of home runs tonight, a grand slam in the 1st inning, a 2-run homer in the 3rd. It's been 10 years since a player hit 3 home runs in a game against the Mets. The last to do it was Cody Ross in Miami back in 2006.
He has driven in 6 of the 8 Padre runs. A one-man wrecking crew.
Almost keeping the fastball away from him. 0-2. Quick pitch just outside. 1-2. Keith, South Korea won the gold in 2008. Cuba won the silver.
Okay.
Sure Davey could recite every pitch for you.
Is that where they promised Chan Ho Park that he wouldn't have to serve his military duty if South Korea won the gold?
I thought that was earlier.
Okay.
Maybe in the Asian games.
Nice.
Backhand play by Walker. And he throws out Schimpf. 16 straight retired by the Mets bullpen. See if the Mets can cash in on the other end. Down 8-6 in the 8th. TV for an inside look at tonight's Jets-Dolphins preseason game as SNY's NFL insider Ralph Vacchiano brings you the latest from the Meadowlands on SNY.TV, your online home of all things New York sports. 3rd straight left-handed reliever coming in for the Padres as Ryan Buchter is in to pitch in the bottom of the 8th inning.
Went to Highland Regional High School in New Jersey, Gloucester County College, and pitched in over 300 games before he made it in the big leagues with Atlanta. Signed as a minor league free agent this winter.
Piazza 0 for 2 was hit in the neck by a pitch from Buddy Bauman in the 6th inning. It scored 3 runs in that 6th inning, but Brad Hand kept them in hand for 2 innings, retired 6 in a row, and now the Mets try to restart against Buchter in the 8th. Buchter pitched briefly for the Braves a couple of years ago. That was his only big league experience before this season. Matt Reynolds on deck. And then Ty Kelly, who's in the 9 spot. And Diaz lofts one foul. 2-1.
It'll take a little nerve to get back in there after you've been hitting the neck.
Yeah.
Huh?
Different pitcher, but still. Yeah.
Still another lefty.
And tighten those laces a little tighter.
Yeah.
Dig in.
Bear down, you know.
Ready to pull that ejector cord if you have to.
Diaz is actually hitting for a higher average against lefties this year than against righties. 240 against the left-handers. Two coming in the air to center field. Right there is Jankowski. One out. So Diaz is retired. And now Matt Reynolds, who drove in a run with a long double to left field his last time up. Reynolds 1 for 3 on the night. And the fastball right on the corner, and it's 1-1. Ryan Buchter, a South Jersey kid, grew up in Camden County, just across the river from Philadelphia.
Big kid.
From a baseball perspective, New Jersey is 2 different states. There's Philly Jersey and there's Mets and Yankees Jersey.
What's Mike Trout? Philly jersey?
Yeah.
Okay. Used to be a time a lot of the Philadelphia Philly players lived in Jersey. I don't know if that's still the case.
Line center field, but right at Jankowski. Hard hit ball by Reynolds for the second out. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by the State Farm agent of the game, Hector Camillo of the Bronx. Contact Hector at hectorcamillo.com. By the all-new 2017 Hyundai Elantra, it's not just new, it's better. And by Cholula, uncap real flavor of your favorite foods with a delicious taste of Cholula hot sauce. Try all 5 unique flavors, including green pepper.
The iconic wooden cap is gone.
I don't think it's gone. I think it's less of a point of emphasis now in the advertising copy.
Oh, that breaks my heart.
I think they figure that everybody knows about the iconic wooden cap. Now they're emphasizing the variety of flavors. I enjoy the chili lime.
You do?
I do. Ty Kelly had a base hit to drive in a run his last time up.
Ooh.
Just wild enough where you just don't know if you're hitting. This guy's going to send one behind your neck or something.
Jerry's familiar. Addison Reed, both up in the Mets bullpen. Kelly hits it sharply, but that's right at Ramirez. And that retires the side. So while the Met bullpen's retired 16 in a row, now the Padre bullpen's retired 9 in a row. We head to the ninth, still 8-6 San Diego. Jabari Blash leads off in the top of the 9th against Hansel Robles, who starts a 3rd inning of relief. That bullpen has been perfect tonight. 16 up and 16 down. Robles has gotten 6 of those.
He's had a couple of appearances this year where he's been pushed beyond.
He's got the rubber arm. He likes the work.
He had that outing against Kansas City back in June, which kind of got his season turned around when he came on in long relief, went 3 2/3. And it was really the first time we'd seen him incorporate his changeup as a useful pitch.
And he got on a roll after that for a long period of time. Just the last 2 have been kind of hiccups, not this one.
Well, maybe a longer outing here will get him back in the right groove. Just trying to hold the fort in the 9th, give the Mets a chance in the bottom of the 9th as Brandon Maurer gets ready in the San Diego bullpen. Mets will have the top of the batting order coming up. Granderson, the pitcher's spot, and Walker. Still have Kelly Johnson on the bench to pinch hit. Blash homered back in the 1st inning. He struck out twice since then. Home run was his 3rd of the season. In his 57th at bat of the year. Just outside Blash. Jabari Blash is from the U.S. Virgin Islands, which reminds me that the former Met Akil Morris, who's also from the Virgin Islands, just got called up by the Braves. Where Morris had his big league debut last year in Toronto.
Oh boy, that was painful. I felt for him in that debut.
That sent him to the Braves to get Kelly Johnson back earlier this year. And Blash pops one up. Reynolds puts it away. 1 out. SNY Super Slow Motion is brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Mercedes-Benz, the best for nothing. So 1 out in the top of the 9th. Here's Christian Bethancourt, who was the last man to reach base for San Diego. That was back in the 3rd inning when he homered to knock Logan Verrett out of the game. Since then, the Mets bullpen has retired 17 in a row. On the corner to Bethancourt. Brett Wallace has come out on deck to pinch hit with the pitcher due up next. Robles quickly ahead 0-2. The Mets were down in this game 5-0 and 8-2. They've already had a game this year where they came from 6 runs down to win. Back on July 4th against the Marlins. They were down 6-0 in the 4th inning and came back to win that game 8-6. Hoping to come from way back again tonight, but they only have 3 more outs to work with. Robles strikes out Bethancourt. That's his 2nd strikeout. 8 up and 8 down for Hansel.
11 punch outs now for the Mets.
Yes, that's a sombrero for Bethancourt. But he's got a home run in there. Solo shot.
Now Brett Wallace will be the pinch hitter. When the Mets were in San Diego in May, Wallace was playing most of the 3rd base with Solarte on the disabled list. It's 11, I think. Yes. Some forward and some backward. Not everybody marks a call 3rd strike as a backward K. Some people write KC.
KC and KS. Right.
I write KC. Small c. Capital K. Small c.
See, to me, KC is Kansas City and KS is Kansas.
Yeah, different kind of barbecue.
Gary, we're never going to agree on our scorecard. You know that.
Change up. So fastball in, change up away.
Robles trying to finish off a third perfect inning. Oh, and 2 to Brett Wallace. That's low. 1 and 2. I'm sure the last time I saw a bullpen retire 18 batters in a row. This has been quite extraordinary. Padres put the Mets in a huge early hole, but the bullpen has given the Mets every chance to try and find their way out of it. One-two coming. Struck him out. 19 batters retired in a row by the Mets bullpen, the last 9 by Robles. Now Curtis Granderson will try and get the Mets started as they come up in their final turn at bat, down by 2. Brandon Maurer is out to try and save it for San Diego.
Well, his numbers are high, but his last 23 games, his ERA is just barely over 1. So he's been much better as their closer.
Curtis Granderson leads off, takes a fastball for a strike. Maurer took over as the closer when Fernando Rodney was dealt to Miami. Granderson held the swing, a ball and a strike. Kelly Johnson out on deck to bat for the pitcher, and then Neil Walker.
Another good arm. Maurer throws hard.
A big relief pitcher for the Padres.
And working very quickly to his first hitter in the ninth. Granderson stepping out on him. Just don't see many relievers work this quickly. Granderson fights it off to stay alive.
Orange Lutheran High School in Costa Mesa, teammate of Garrett Cole.
That's a hard throwing staff right there.
Yeah, right.
Came up with the Mariners. Second year in San Diego.
Oh, didn't want to throw that.
Wants to slide her down.
I think he wants those fastball. Slider.
Backdoor is hit and he misses with it. 2-2. Maurer had never saved a game in the majors before this season. Going for his 5th save tonight. Granderson bounces one foul. Down to Tom Goodwin.
Oh, Tom.
Slight bobble. And there too. Again, the 2-2. Granderson gets a hold of one deep center field, but plenty of room for Jankowski. 1 out. Coming up tonight, Geico Sports Night after the post game. Giants play their first preseason game. More on this game and A-Rod's last game. All on Geico Sports Night tonight after the post game. Well, it was in the bottom of the 9th inning 2 nights ago that Kelly Johnson hit a pinch hit 2-run homer to get the Mets to extra innings. Bats here with the Mets down by 2 and takes low from Mauer.
No, this guy just comes after you. Doesn't waste any time. Like a locomotive.
Neil Walker waiting on deck, hoping Johnson can get on and get him to the plate as the tying run.
I don't know about you guys, but I've seen enough of Kelly the last 2 years here in New York. Neil Walker on deck with a lot of big home runs. He's a good sign to have off your bench.
Yeah, I agree.
Huh?
Veteran off the bench.
Yeah.
I agree 100%.
3 pinch hit home runs already this year for the Mets, and he hits this one out to center, but Jankowski is there again, and now the Mets are down to their final out. So Mauer's come in, gotten 2 fly ball outs, and it's left to Neil Walker, who's walked 3 times and grounded out 0 for 1. It's a 9-game hitting streak on the line, and the game on the line. Trying to get Jay Bruce to the plate here in the 9th inning.
He's got to take a strike here. You're down 2 runs. They're going to put the shift on. Move the third baseman Solarte over to the right side of the infield. A big pyramid shift. Leaving Ramirez, the shortstop, in the third base position, protecting against the bunt. Which, if he wasn't there, would be a good idea.
And Walker takes inside, ball 1.
So Keith, take another pitch here.
Yes.
Okay.
You need a base runner.
I agree.
You know.
And out 2-0.
You got someone in the on-deck circle with almost 30 home runs. This is the guy you want to. Home run can't beat you.
Bowers 2-0, and Walker flies one to shallow center field. Jankowski is there, and the Mets have lost their 4th in a row. Fell behind early. Logan Verrett struggled. Mets bullpen was great, but the Mets with not enough offense to climb the hill entirely, as the Padre bullpen retired the last 12 in a row, and the Mets fall below 500 for the first time since they were 5-6 in the middle of April.
It's really the opposite of the game you saw yesterday that you guys did. Really nothing out there. This is a whole different game. It was a starting pitcher, Logan Verrett, who really got off to a horrible start, put the Mets in a big hole, but the team fought back for the next 3 hours.
Well, this is another bitter defeat. Been a tough homestand. You see the numbers right there. The home run got the Mets in trouble. Those were Schimpf, who had a grand slam, his 11th, and then hit a 2-run shot for 6 RBIs in the game. He did all the damage against the Mets, most of it.
Game summary presented by Jeep. Verrett struggled. Mets bullpen retired 19 in a row, but not enough for the Mets tonight as they lose their 4th straight. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by the Summer of Jeep celebration going on now. By People's United Bank NA. See what know-how can do for you. By Geico, the #1 insurer in the New York market. By New York Lottery. Take a break from the expected. Play scratch-off games from the New York Lottery. And by Citi, proud partner of the New York Mets. Final score tonight, the Padres 8 and the Mets 6. Second game of the series tomorrow night. Our next SNY telecast will be Monday night when the Mets begin their road trip in Arizona. Coverage begins Monday night at 8:30. tomorrow night on Pix 11. Jacob deGrom throws for the Mets. The former Marlin Jared Cosard for the Padres. Coverage begins on Pix 11 tomorrow night at 6:30. Now for Keith Hernandez, Ron Darling, Doug Williams, and our entire SNY crew, I'm Gary Cohen at Citi Field. Time for WB Mason postgame live. Let's join Gary Apple and Nelson Figueroa in the studio, guys.